welcome to another Fight and Night review. This time we are in Houston, Texas at the Toyota Center. I knew that, and totally didn't have to scroll up on Wikipedia. And we have the first fight of the main card between Edson Barboza and Shane Burgos. So, yeah, this is the fight we're looking at. I will try and break it down round by round as best as I can. So let's make an attempt at doing that. So the fight, and indeed the round, begins, and Barboza immediately takes to the centre a bit faster than Shane does, and Barboza opens with arguably his best weapon, his vicious leg kicks. And he goes for a lot of them, especially, they come really good for countering a lot of Shane's offense, because Shane's got the heavy hands between the two, I would argue. And Shane is trying to load up some really good combos, but Edson is always there with a really, really good counter off the leg. And this is his bread and butter for the first minute and a half of the round. He lands it quite successfully. He does eventually sort of lose a bit of distance, and Shane does try to capitalise on it and lands some really good combos every now and then. And this is sort of the main dance that they do. Barboza does look for more leg kicks, but Shane is moving his lead leg back now to avoid them, which is very, very smart. He does sort of cause a bit of swelling on Shane at some point, but Shane, with a really good counter at some point in round one, does cause some swelling over Barboza. So there is like a mini sort of narrative, I guess you could call it. And the two keep trading for a good majority of the round. Like, there's some really, really good close call moments. Shane is landing a lot of really good combos. He's starting with a really good left body hook and overhand right combo that's landing quite well for him. But in the closing, minute and 10 seconds of the round is when it really starts to pick up speed and the fight is on. Edson lands a beautiful spinning back kick to the head. Shane tanks it and keeps going, but Shane eats some really nasty punches and is wobbling back. He still manages to fight through, and he's still standing by the end of the round. And he's not as shaky as he appeared a few moments before that, but it was close goings, and God, what a round, honestly. So I am giving it to Barboza because he opened it really well. He took most of the middle bit. There was not really a lot of wrestling in this round, or indeed in this entire fight, which I'll get to soon. But yeah, really good mix-ups from Shane in round one. However, round one definitely goes to Barboza. Opens with leg kicks, closed with that beautiful combo, the spinning head kick, landing some really good shots to the head as well of Shane, and stunning him quite a bit. But Shane, still in it and still standing, and I have to give props to referee Mike Beltran for letting the fight go at its intended pace, and gonna say it again, Mike Beltran is a viciously underrated referee with a fucking beautiful moustache beard thing. So, on to round two. In round two, it sort of starts the same for Barboza. He is again going for those calf kicks, going for those leg kicks, but he goes for a couple too many, and he splits his shin open, and he starts throwing that move less because he doesn't want to worsen the cut, and he doesn't want to suffer maybe getting a broken leg, because, we saw what happened earlier in the year with Chris Weidman and Uriah Hall. That's a thing, But yeah, it is sort of a shame that he doesn't go for it, but he does actually load up quite well on other moves. He's going for a lot more counter punches, not loading up on them a lot. In fact, he lands a really good knee at some point in round two, I think. It might have been round one, I could be misremembering that. He lands a really good knee, though, on Shane in the clinch. He lands some really good punches, but Shane is there a lot more in round two. He is closing the distance more, again, following that lead left body hook up with the right hook over the top. He's actually going for a lot more calf kicks, but Barboza is pushing him back with some really good spinning back kicks, and they're so quick. You barely see him turning or loading up his hips before he throws them, and it's just like a snap, it's just really, really quick. And pretty much all of them land and push Shane back, but Shane is not winded in the least from these body shots, and he still keeps going, and he's still really good at closing the distance. The striking in round two is a lot closer than it was in round one, but is pinched narrowly in favour of Barboza, and I do slightly agree with that. But I did like that he was hesitant to keep throwing that lead calf kick. And again, like at the end of round one, he goes for a spinning head kick at the end of round two, but Shane is moving more away from it, and he's a bit more away from the pair of it. It only barely clips him, whereas the one in round two was a lot more of a full-on hit. And Shane does keep pushing forward and trying to land. He lands a really good uppercut at some point as well, and he hits one himself. And even Barboza lands a good body work in round two. And yeah, round two, again, just narrowly slightly in favour of Barboza. And again, just an incredible round. I really liked it. Not a lot of clinch or grappling work. Not really any wrestling. I don't think there was a single takedown gone for in this fight. But, props to Shane again, standing in there, tanking a lot of damage. Of course, by round 3 that wouldn't really matter, so let's get to that. And then round 3, it sort of starts a bit more flat-footed. I mean, that is sort of obvious. Shane is a bit hesitant to move forward with his carve kicks because he does want to eat that spinning body kick again, and Edson is hesitant to throw his kick as well to the leg because of his shin still bleeding, still being busted open. It is sort of cleaned up between rounds, but not a lot, and it's still sort of bleeding a little bit going into round 3. So they do sort of like go back and forth a bit. Shane is pushing forward a little bit more, but Barboza is loading up more in his strikes than landing a really good counter. And at 1 minute and 16 seconds into that round, into the third and final round, he lands a right hand, and it lands clean on Shane, and Shane's still standing. But then there's a delayed reaction because the pain of him realizing, oh, I've been hit in the head really hard settles in, and he wobbles back, falls against the cage, and sort of collapses, and Barboza gets a couple more punches in, and Mike Beltran stops in to break up the fight. So, this fight will possibly be in my top 10. This is definitely one of my favourites in 2021 so far, especially considering, and I've brought this up before, how many fights have ended with finishes. This was a really good example of that, and it reminded me of what happened when Cub Swanson did it to, ironically, Charles Oliveira, who won the main event of this card to become the new lightweight champion, which I'm so happy about because Joe Bronx deserves it, but back to this fight. So, yeah, I did like the finish, however it did sort of sour it for me because I wanted to see more of an actual fight in round 3. Like it felt a bit one-sided by that point, but it was still extremely exciting. And I think if the finish came later, I'd be talking about, I would be placing this higher. I think I would put it in the top 10, not the top 5. But I really like this fight, and Shane Burgos is just an exciting prospect. I'm really happy to see Barboza like putting the pieces together for the first time in a long time. So, yeah, it was just a really exciting fight, and I recommend you go and seek this one out for yourself. I had a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. Satisfying ending. I wish it had gone on a little bit longer in round 3. In round 3, excuse me, but you know what? For what it was, really, really awesome. So that will about do it. So here I am at the outro now. Thank you for joining me. Don't have a lot else to say. I want to say thank you to everyone who watched War of Attrition 3 on Friday night. That was an absolutely phenomenal card, and that main event between Shrek and Yamashita was... I'm quite proud of myself for putting that match on, and for making it to 3 falls, because it was amazing. And the next thing you'll see me for will possibly be more Music of the Week. Maybe 2 more episodes in the week if I can get them done. And hopefully the Spiritfarer game review. I will maybe push back an episode of Music of the Week to get that video done. I'm not really sure what will happen there. And also, I'm not going to be streaming PBW vs AVW on Tuesday, but I am going to be doing my weekly game stream on Friday. I just want to take a break from PBW vs AVW after having such a big show on Friday, so that's the plan. And obviously I've got to get sort of like roster shifting done, so that might take a little while. But that's for then, and I will see you Monday or Tuesday, possibly Tuesday, because I don't have a stream going, so I'll probably just put out a video then. And as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.